In Pleasantville, at 3 Walnut Creek, in a well-kept house on a tree-lined street, there lives a girl with long curly locks, with her dog named Rex and a cat named Socks. The little girl, named Izzy Vance, likes to read, sing, play, and dance. She has a sis whose name is Pat, and a little brother whose name is Matt. They all live with their mom and dad, with mom named Sue and dad named Brad. Down Walnut Creek, then take a right at 12 Pinewood Place, right by the light. In a yellow house with a slanted roof lives Izzy's BFF who's lost a tooth. Izzy's BFF is Katie Plath, who likes swimming, soccer, school, and math. Katie has a funny quirk of sorts, for when she laughs, she sometimes snorts. Izzy and Kate became good friends with one of their schoolmates, Lucy Glenn. They met while acting in a play about the February date known as Groundhog Day, for on this day, if the sun's about, the groundhog's shadow will come out. But if it's cloudy in the sky, the groundhog's shadow will say goodbye. What does this mean? The folklore goes, 6 more weeks of winter if his shadow shows. But if the groundhog's shadow's hidden, an early spring is then a given. In the play, Lucy played the sun, while Katie thought being a cloud was fun. As for the groundhog, it was a hoot to see Izzy perform in a groundhog suit. It came complete with fur tail and toes. It even came with a groundhog nose. Izzy shook that tail and wiggled that nose. She even wiggled her groundhog toes. As a funny groundhog, Izzy gave it her best. The parents laughed so hard they needed a rest. When the play came to a finish, as the curtain came down, it was time for the actors to now take their bows. Some did a polite curtsy, and some forward did bend, to signal to parents the play was now at an end. Now not far from Izzy's house, in fact, just up the street, is a park with a playground that's really quite neat. It has swings to go swinging and slides to go down, a go-round to go spinning, all on the park grounds. There's a jungle gym to get funky, to just monkey around, and teeters that totter, one goes up, one comes down. There are trees with birds singing, and squirrels that like nuts, and bees that like flowers and live in bee huts. There's a pond with fish swimming, and ducks that go quack, and geese that go honk, to answer right back. There are frogs that go ribbit, and pollywogs too, and minnows swim swimming, and groups known as schools. There are bunnies hip-hopping, and chipmunks that scurry, and slow-moving skunks that don't ever hurry. They don't have to hurry nor get out of the way, 'cause no one goes near them for fear of their spray, a spray that can give you such a smelly surprise that if you get sprayed will bring tears to your eyes. There's a raccoon called Bandit. Why Bandit, you ask? It's because he looks like he's wearing a mask. At night in the park, there's an owl that hoots, and bats that flitter and flutter and do loop-de-loops, and you may spot some deer. Oh my dear, they're so cute. There are bugs of all kinds, some cute and some scary, some flighty, some crawly, some pretty, some hairy. Ladybugs, spiders, beetles, and ants, fireflies, butterflies, centipedes, gnats, grasshoppers that jump, and beetles that don't. They'd rather just walk, never jump, they just won't. There's also crickets that chirp, mosquitoes that buzz, and cute little caterpillars covered in fuzz. And if you look down at your feet, you might spot a worm who's come out of the ground by doing the squirm. People of all kinds visit Pleasantville Park. Some like to come early, some stay until dark. They come in all ages, some old and some young, and some in the middle all to the park come. They come to the park to have fun, don't you see? Some do it by reading by the shade of a tree, while others may walk, and others may run. They all have one thing in common. They're at the park to have fun. Whole families come to the park to have picnic fun. They come with mom, dads, daughters, and sons. They may even come with some uncles and aunts, or maybe even with grandma and gramps. They come to eat hot dogs, hamburgers, and steaks, or maybe some chicken with a potato that's baked. On the side, they may have a salad that's green, or maybe a helping of Boston baked beans. As for dessert, they may have ice cream. After the food, the fun's just begun, as families take part in some picnic game fun. They may volley a volleyball over a net, or serve up some birdies from a badminton set. They might bring a hula hoop. It spins as they twist. The very best hula hooper is usually Sis. They may play some soccer, see them run, see them kick, or they might play some tag, don't get caught or you're it. Some even bring jump ropes, 'cause jumping is fun, and if they're quite good, then 2 ropes are better than 1. Those on the ends twirl the ropes round and round, while those in the middle jump up and down. The park is a favorite place for Izzy to go, because of all the fun things to do there, you know. She likes to go to the park with Lucy and Kate. Sometimes right after school, to the park they'll go straight. They go to the park to swing on the swings and go round and round on that go-around thing. They climb to the top of the slides and slide down, and hang from the monkey bars, even hang upside down. They teeter and totter on that seesaw thing, see? They have to take turns, 'cause it holds 2 and not 3. They check out the wildlife, watch the birds and the bunnies, watch the squirrels being squirrely. Squirrels are really quite funny. They'll look for the skunk, 'cause they think that he's cute, finely decked out in his black and white suit. But when they do spot him, they leave plenty of room. They want no part of his skunky perfume. They'll check out the flowers, where the butterflies light. Their pretty wing colors are a beautiful sight. Then down to the pond to feed the ducks and the geese, what birdseed that makes for a real duck and geese feast. Then they'll look in the pond to spot pollywogs, which not far from now will turn into frogs. Yes, the girls' trips to the park are always a treat, but after they must hurry home, dinner's almost ready to eat. One night, as Izzy was asleep in her room, a storm began forming. It started to brew. The night sky was becoming cloudy and gray. The wind began howling. The trees started to sway. Then all of a sudden came a thunderous boom, with a rumble so loud that it shook the whole room. It woke Izzy up to an incredible sight of lightning so bright that it lit up the night. But Izzy didn't get scared. No, she wasn't afraid. In fact, Izzy enjoyed the light show that the thunderstorm made. She thought to herself, as she looked out into the sky, it looks almost like fireworks on the 4th of July. But what Izzy hadn't noticed, while out the window she stared, was the humidity the storm had put into the air, or the amusing effect that it had on her hair. Then almost as quickly as it had begun, the lightning grew dim, the thunder was done, the clouds began fading, the storm became weak, and Izzy dozed off to a nice peaceful sleep. The next day, the alarm clock woke Izzy from sleep. The sun, it was shining, the birds, they did cheep. The sky was as blue as a bluebird's blue feathers, was the most perfect day, with the most perfect weather. Izzy sat up in bed, reached out her arms, had a good stretch, shut off the alarm, opened her mouth to have a big yawn, ran her hand through her hair. Oh my gosh, what is wrong? She sprang from her bed and ran to the mirror. Then she took a long look at what did appear. A girl with hair as big as could be. Her hair, it was huge, huge and frizzy. It was almost too big to fit through the door. Big as a shrub and a half, maybe more. It was frizzy and soft, truly something to see. If it weren't hair, it would make a nice tree. She tried using a comb, tried using a brush. She tried and she tried, but it wasn't enough. She had no more time to mess with this mess. The school bus would be here in 6 minutes or less. So, she quickly brushes her teeth, puts on her school clothes, slips on her shoes, scratches her nose. Runs down the stairs, lickety-split, grabs a bite on the run, 'cause there's no time to sit. Slings on her backpack, then to the door heads. Tries to exit the house, gets stuck instead. So she pushes and pushes and pushes so hard that she falls out the door and into the yard. But she didn't get hurt, no, not hurt at all, 'cause her big hair was there to cushion her fall. So in a split second, she was back on her feet, just as the school bus pulls onto her street. Izzy tries to get on, but it's a tight fit. But somehow she does it, but before she can sit, all the kids began laughing, some point and some stare. So Izzy pipes up, "Okay guys, now listen up here. This mess started last night, not from fright or a scare, but from all the moisture that storm put into the air. So get over it fast, get over it quick, and please stop the laughs by the time that I sit." And the bus it grew quiet. There was nary a peep, and Izzy saw Kate in their usual seat. But when Izzy sat down, suddenly something was weird, because in less than an instant, her friend disappeared. But where did Kate go? Into thin air? No, Kate became lost in Izzy's big frizzy hair. But in a short moment, Kate's head had popped out, and she started to giggle, which caused Izzy to shout, "Don't even get started about this mess on my head. It was like this morning when I got out of bed." But then Izzy started to smile, then chuckled a bit, then said, "This hair mess is funny, I do have to admit." Then they both laughed so hard that their whole bodies shook at the sight of themselves and how silly they looked. Then Izzy chimed up, "This hair's not such a big deal. It's not a big problem. It isn't, I feel. So I have a plan. I know what I'll do. I'll get through this day, this one day of school. Then at the end of the day, at the end of last class, I'll get on the bus which will take me home fast. Then, once I am home, in quite less than an hour, I'll get rid of this frizz by taking a shower." But Katie spoke up, "But have you forgot? You said that you go to the park, did you not? You said that on this very same day, we all go to the park, and there we would play. And Lucy and I are all ready to go, and you said you'd go too. You did, don't you know?" Then Izzy remembered what she had told her two friends, that she would go to the park with them after school ends. That after school ends, on this very same day, they all go to the park, and there they would play. Then she thought for a second, then said, "I will go. I told you I would, so I shall not say no. I won't let this hair mess go and spoil our fun. I'll just take that shower once our park fun is done." So the girls go to class, but after school's done, they all meet at the bus loop to catch the right one. The one they get on is bus 58, which drops them at Izzy's house right in front of the gate. Now on the sidewalk, the girls use their feet to head to the park that is just up the street, but they don't get too far when off to their right is a red-breasted robin who follows closely in flight. Lucy spoke up, "This bird is a pest. I think that she thinks your big hair is a nest." The girls gave her a shoe, but the bird didn't scare. Instead, she flew straight into Izzy's big frizzy hair. But the girls kept on walking, keeping their fingers crossed, hoping that when they reached the park, that the bird would get lost. But when they get to the park, the robin's still there, resting quite comfortably in Izzy's big frizzy hair. The girls shrugged their shoulders, and the bird began singing. Then they all headed on over to the swings to go swinging. They get on the swings, and as they swing to and fro, another crazy thing happens. Now wouldn't you know? A chipmunk who's watching, as Izzy swings by, takes a big leap as if he thought he could fly. And when he came down from out of the air, can you guess where he landed? Right in Izzy's big hair. He then nestled on in, this chipmunky chap, and then settled right down for a nice chipmunk nap. The girls were astonished. Now what should they do? 'Cause now Izzy's big hair has not one pest, but two. But Izzy spoke up, "We came here to have fun, so I'll deal with these critters once our park fun is done." So off to the slides is where the girls run. Izzy climbs up the slide ladder, but not far behind, a bunny has followed her to the top of the slide. The bunny goes hop as Izzy slides down and lands right in her hair before she reaches the ground. He sinks right down in, this hair-hopping hair, then in a short moment his ears and head reappear. Now there are three pests in Izzy's frizzy hairdo. This crazy hair mess is becoming a zoo. Next up is the seesaw that holds two and not three, so the girls they take turns. First goes Kate and Izzy. Then when they switch up, it's Lucy and Kate. When Lucy goes up, she shouts, "Man, this is great." Last to pair up is Lucy and Izzy. They both take a seat, and soon they get busy. They see and they saw, they go down, they go up, while a butterfly watches from a yellow buttercup. She watches a while, and as you may have already guessed, she decided that she too would join Izzy's frizzy hair mess. So up from the buttercup this butterfly flew, landing straight on Izzy's big frizzy hairdo. But after she landed, the girls will confess, she was quite a beautiful, colorful pest. As a matter of fact, a pest may be so, but she looked just like a pretty, store-bought hair bow. So, where once were 3 pests, now there were 4. Katie said, "I don't think your big hair can take too much more." But now off to the monkey bars to monkey around, where Lucy and Kate chose to hang upside down, but Izzy decided that with her hair full of pest, that staying upright perhaps might be best. So Izzy stayed upright as she climbed all around, when all of a sudden she heard a loud sound. It came up from the ground at her back. The loud sound she heard was a very loud quack. The quack gave Izzy a startle, so she spun quickly around to see what had made that loud quack of a sound. No, it wasn't a chicken, 'cause chickens go cluck. I'm sure you've already guessed what she saw was a duck. The duck had come up from the pond, which is not far away. She came up from the pond to watch the girls play. But when Izzy spun round, the duck saw her hair and the 4 wildlife critters that had nestled in there. So she thought to herself, looks like a nice place to be, and if they can be there, then why couldn't she? So with a flap of her wings, she was up in the air, and you know where she landed? Yup, right in Izzy's big frizzy hair. Then she wiggled her feathers, she shimmied and shook, to form a nice little comfy frizzy hair nook. Now if you are counting, the total's now 5. 5 critter type things, 5 things all alive. And Izzy said to her friends, "I don't think this is good. I wish they'd all leave. I just wish they all would." Then Lucy spoke up, "With your hair full of pest, I think it's time we go home. To go home might be best." Believe it or not, this day has been fun. With even a hair full of pest, I'm glad I did come. So let's finish our park visit like we normally would. Let's go down to the pond. I think that we should. So, now down to the pond the girls did now roam. It will be their last stop before they head home. When they get to the pond, there's the usual sights. Geese, duck, and fishes, and seagulls in flight. As the girls take a seat, they see frogs hop in, except for one curious froggy who decides not to swim. He has something in mind, this green fellow he does. Can you guess what he's thinking? Can you guess what it was? He was thinking, why was he lying in muck, while Izzy's big frizzy hair was housing a duck, and a butterfly, a bunny, a chipmunk, and bird? To lay in this muck any longer would just be absurd. So with that thought he had thunk, he decided to jump, landing quite softly with a tiny kerplunk. A tiny kerplunk, and then he was there, a tiny kerplunk, right into Izzy's big frizzy hair. And then the frog thought, this is a stroke of good luck. This hair is quite comfy, sure beats lying in muck. Then he turned with a smile to the other critter-type folk, then began to sing like a frog. That is, he started to croak. Now, as it's time to head home, Izzy's hair now holds 6 wildlife critters. She's in quite a bit of a fix. So Izzy spoke up. Now what will I do? My parents will think that I brought home a zoo. My brother will cry. My dog Rex will bark. And my cat Socks will hiss from morning till dark. Then Katie chimed in. I don't think you should fret. At least I don't think you should fret just quite yet. 'Cause on our way home a solution may come. A solution may come before our walk home is done. So the girl started to walk home on this bright sunny day, but in a very short time the blue sky started to gray. Then it started to drizzle, then it started to rain, and then came the downpour, and buckets it came. The girls couldn't run from it, there was no place to go, and each one got soaked from her head to her toe. But the girls carried on, though they failed to see that Izzy's big frizzy hair was becoming limp as could be. Yes, it was starting to fall, it was starting to flop. Her big frizzy hair was becoming a soaking wet mop. The critters started to wobble, they started to slip, and Izzy's limp mop-like hair there was no place to grip. So out of Izzy's moppy wet hair the robin did fly, without even so much as a thank you goodbye. Then the chipmunk decided that this place was no longer fun, so he jumped to the ground and off he did run. The bunny could no longer hang on to this mop, so out he did leap, then off he did hop. The butterfly, seeing those critters flee, thought it was about time that also did she. She was just hanging on by a tiny hair thread, so off she did fly from Izzy's moppy hair head. The duck too decided that she had enough. Trying to hold on any longer was becoming too tough. There was no point in trying to further her stay, so she flapped to the ground and waddled away. Now the frog was alone. All the others had fled, all alone barely clinging to Izzy's moppy hair head. He was tired of hanging on, using all of his might, so he jumped to the ground and hopped out of sight. Then shortly thereafter, the downpour started to fizzle, and the buckets of rain turned into a drizzle. Then the clouds dried up completely, sunshine filled the sky, and Izzy's wet moppy hair started quickly to dry. By the time the girls got to Izzy's mop top was gone, and she was back to her old self, with hair curly and long. When the girls entered the house, Izzy's mom asked, "Did you have fun at the park? Was your park trip a blast? Did you slide on the slides? Did you swing on the swings? Did you go round and round on that go-around thing? Did you climb on the monkey bars and then monkey around? Did you run and have fun while on the park grounds? Did you do all the things that you normally do? Tell me all about your park visit you had after school." And the girls looked at each other, then started to laugh. They laughed so darn hard, they bent almost in half. Then Izzy spoke up, and here's what she said. "This whole day was crazy 'cause of the hair on my head. This morning it was so big and frizzy that no matter how much I fussed, I could barely make it small enough to fit on the bus. And then when we went to the park after school, my big frizzy hair turned into a zoo. Then on our way home, it started to rain, and out of my now stringy wet hair, the critters all came. Then the sun it came out, and the rain it went by, and quickly my wet moppy hair started to dry. And when it dried out, I was back to old me, with the long curly hair on my head you now see. So you may think that I'm crazy, that my story's absurd, but it happened just like that, every last single word.